Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Come on, good evening. I'm doing well, sir. Thanks for asking. Did you have a nice day? Yeah. Outstanding. Are you ready for a great show? Yeah. Before we start the show, I have to tell you something that happened to me last night. I debated whether or not I was going to tell you about this. I debated for a good solid, 3 seconds. Then I was like, I gotta make a living. Hang on. It's funny you asked that. I want to preface this story by saying, ma'am, if you are here, I am terribly sorry. Perfect. Alright. Last night as we were sailing from Port Canaveral, I was walking up on deck 10, just above the main pool area. There were quite a few of you out there. You can back me up on this. It was a little bit windy, right?
Right.
Apparently it was just me. Anyway, right down near the end of the ship, I'm walking towards the back end, and down there near the end of the ship, I saw this elderly lady. She was dressed in a beautiful sundress, big floppy hat. Just behind her, there were these 5 or 6 guys. They were clearly not together, but they were in the same general area. And I kept walking down deck 10, and right as I got to where they were, this big gust of wind came by, and it blew her dress up over her head. Yeah, she grabbed her hat. All 5 or 6 of these guys were like, so I was a little embarrassed for her, so I ran over and I tried to help her out. I started to pull her dress down. That's the same reaction she had. She got angry. She was like, Kurt, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm trying to help you out here. She said, Kurt, everything under this dress is 83 years old. This hat is brand new. And here's the funny thing. That's a true story. I want you to remember that while you're walking around the outer decks wearing loose-fitting clothing. You guys ready for a great show? Come on, say yeah. Everybody say yeah. The man I'm about to bring on this stage, ladies and gentlemen, not only a tremendously talented guy in his own right, I mean, not conventionally talented, but very talented in his own right. He is one of the single funniest guys I have ever met in my life. He's one of my dear friends. It is a treat to have him here on board the Pride, and I know you're going to enjoy him right now. I want you to do me a huge favor. Put your drinks down, put your hands together, stomp your feet, and make some noise. Help me welcome to the stage the hilarious comedic attempts of Tommy Drake.
Hey, another round of applause for my friend Kurt. I'm what they call a fly-on entertainer. That means I don't live on this ship. I get on in one port, do a couple shows, get off in the next. So I'm in airports all the time. Here's my tip for you guys. Next time you fly, this will make your trip through the airport more fun. They make you take your shoes off going through security. Put them up on that conveyor belt. Right after you take your shoes off next time, go ahead, take your pants off. Put them up on the conveyor belt. Nobody's looking right at you. Everybody's focused on their own stuff. They only see you out of the corner of their eye. So don't make a big deal out of taking your pants off. Make it smooth and natural. Right after the second shoe, slip off the pants, fold them up nice, put them on top of the shoes. It's going to take practice, but if you do this right, people behind you in line will start to take their pants off. They will. You're not going to get arrested for being extra helpful. I've had every seat on the airplane. Worst seat you can have is when there's a little kid in the seat behind you. Has anybody ever had this? I just had a great flight. There was a 6-year-old boy in the seat in front of me. As soon as we took off, I started kicking the seat, just kicking. Kicking, tray table, tray table, tray table. Do I want it down? Do I want it up? I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll play the drums on it for a little while. Kick. Later on in the flight, I mashed my hand in my food, touched his hair. I got back at him for us. I had 2 flights to get here today. My first flight was from Houston, where I lived, to Miami. That was nice. I was on a big plane. I was on a 737. That was nice. And then I flew from Miami to Nassau. I was on a little plane. I was on a 7. At least I got to watch him strap my bag to the roof while I was getting on the plane. The airlines are charging extra for everything. Delta made me pay for the bags under my eyes. It's not added any weight. So, if this is your first cruise in a long time, or if you've never cruised before, the first thing you probably thought to yourself when you got on the Carnival Pride is, wow, this is a gigantic ship. And you probably continued to think that until this afternoon when we parked it in the shadow of a bigger ship. I spent all afternoon looking across the pier thinking, wow, I bet their comedian's famous. When you're the comedian on the ship, people have all kinds of questions for you walking around. I decided it'd be better if I covered some of those topics on stage during my show. First question I get always is, where are you from? I mentioned I live in Houston. That's not where I'm from. I'm originally from Northern California, up near San Francisco. That's where I grew up. I think there's a lot to be learned from my home state. It was the first place to make it illegal to smoke cigarettes indoors. And ever since then, the whole state has been on fire. I think that might be why. I just did some shows in San Francisco. It's weird out there now. When you drive across the Golden Gate Bridge, there's a kid with a gun standing there, a Coast Guard, guarding the bridge. I'm guessing this wasn't this kid's first choice of duty. Guarding a bridge, if you're not a troll or a billy goat, I don't think they should make you guard a bridge. Arnold Schwarzenegger's really governor. That wasn't a movie, that's real. I think it's great. I think Arnold should be president and Jesse Ventura should be vice president. Okay. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. We wouldn't have to threaten other countries. We could just send them DVDs. Forget about NATO. Sign everybody up for Netflix. Here, watch this scene. That's our president ripping a guy's arms off. Here's a weapons treaty. You should fill that out. Arnold can't be president though, can he? No, you know why? Because he wasn't born in the U.S. He was manufactured in the future. Those are the laws. It was about 9 years ago I moved from Northern California to Houston, Texas. That's where I live now. That's a weird move. There's a completely different cost of living. I sold a 1,200 square foot condo in California, made enough money to move to Houston and buy the Astros. I had to get used to different laws when I got to Texas, laws that shocked me being a California boy. You can drive around with a loaded gun in your car in Texas, as long as you have a permit for your weapon. Also, when I first moved to Houston, this was their liquor law. I thought they were kidding. You're allowed to have an open container of alcohol in the car, as long as the driver wasn't drinking it. But if you read your gun permit law, you couldn't have the open container of alcohol in the same car with the loaded gun. So that was a decision you had to make before you left the house. Is it a Colt 44 or a Colt 45 night? I can conceal one of these.